Good afternoon, everyone. It is August 5th. There's an article over on shtfplan.com how tyrants, how people become easily controlled by tyrants. And this comes from Brandon Smith of altmarket.com. And this question often arises, right? How do societies become so bad that, or how do societies become so stupid that they allow for tyrants to take control and then abuse them, right? We haven't had a dictator in the classical sense, meaning like Hitler, Mao, Stalin, these guys, right? But we do have a kind of dictatorship. And in our case, there's a whole bunch of wannabe tyrants working in our system. The police departments, the FBI, any state institution that has the power to really fuck up your life. These, and do. I would say that these are wannabe tyrants. But the psychology of a tyrant is much different than the psychology of your normal, everyday person. Tyrants are psychologically abnormal to such an extreme that it is even difficult to classify them as human beings, which maybe they're not. Maybe they're not human beings. I mean, that is a possibility, isn't it? The key to understanding the motivations of tyrants and where these people come from rests in our understanding of narcissistic sociopaths. And I've talked about this a dozen times, actually, about narcissistic sociopaths and the people at the highest rungs of government, corporations, entertainment industry. They're all, and in any of these complexes, anyone reaching those higher rungs are mostly sociopathic and narcissistic. Okay? Not all of them are sociopaths, but you can say that most of them, if not all of them, are narcissistic. And narcissists will work with sociopaths to achieve specific mutual goals that benefit each party. So, narcissist and sociopathic traits, like many psychological traits, are inborn. They are present in about 5% to 10% of any society at any given time. In the vast majority of cases, these traits remain latent or dormant and do not affect the person's actions or relationships to a great extent. But in a minority of cases, narcissism and sociopathy become the defining factor of a person's psyche. And again, this is where the tyrants come from, is that. So, a sociopathic narcissist is motivated by personal desire only. They are incapable of empathy for others and see people as a kind of food and fuel source rather than fellow travelers in life. They consider their lack of conscience as an evolutionary advantage and a tool that helps them to survive and thrive by trampling, stealing, manipulating, killing if necessary, without guilt or regret. And again, you can see these traits in all of our presidents. We can see these traits in most of our congressmen and senators. We can see these traits in many, many police, law enforcement officials. I think there's more than 5%. I do. You would think that these creatures would be easy to pick up in a crowd, but it's not always so simple. You have to interact with the person and see how they are before you can determine whether or not they are narcissistic sociopaths. You can't just look at a person and say, oh, that guy's or girl is a sociopath, or is a narcissistic, or both. You have to see how they behave before you can come to that conclusion. And that's really unfortunate because you have to get close to that person to see that behavior, and could have negative impact on your life. They have the ability to mimic behaviors of those around them in order to appear more human. Sometimes this does give them away because they can't help but parrot or steal behaviors and mannerisms from people they meet to the point of obviousness. For those inexperienced with narcissistic sociopaths, though the tactic works for a time because what people think they see is someone just like them, a reflection, imagine it as a survival mechanism, like a chameleon. And that's why they mimic people's behavior. It's their survival mechanism, like a chameleon. So, for some tyrants, the ability makes them enduring to the public for a time, like most of our presidents. They can be many things to many groups, and their ability to lie convincingly is exceptional. They climb the ladder of success quickly and build systems that allow them to prosper. They do have doubts and weaknesses, though. And you can see how our system's been built by these sociopaths, and the system has allowed for these types of people to prosper, and has punished the honest among us, the hardworking among us, the honorable among us. So, what else here? They are in most cases cowardly. They prefer to get what they want through subversion and trickery, and they run from direct confrontation. They prefer to use other people as weapons or shields rather than risk facing off with their ideological opponents. As parasites, they focus on the weak-minded or the fragile. So that's the kind of people who you see in the highest positions. The presidents, the senators, the attorney generals, and so on and so forth. This describes those people to the T. But the American public is gullible and dumbed down as they are, will continue to vote and throw support behind these narcissistic sociopaths. And in some cases, many cases, they are outright fucking psychopaths. The three personality types do work together to achieve common goals that benefit each of them. So, and group psychology has a lot to do with the ability of these people to gain control to the extent they have it. I mean, just look at how upset people get over a fucking Nike commercial. And that is a straight-up contagion. One person got outraged about it, and then another, then another, then another, and now we have this stupid gay-ass outrage mob over a Nike commercial. And when they're dumping fucking industrial waste in the water supplies of nearly every city in this country, but they're outraged by a fucking Nike commercial. It really does demonstrate the level of stupidity that people have when they get caught up in being part of a movement or a group. They don't think for themselves anymore. They become a cog in the machine of that crowd or group. That's how the shit works. And with the internet and the news and all that, it keeps people in these states seemingly permanently. So, anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. The article is on shtfplan.com, and it is a good read. Alright? So, I thought I would share some excerpts from it and talk about it a little bit. And hopefully you go to the website and read the rest of it to find out more about the narcissistic sociopaths that run our country and the world at large. So, I still need your help. I could use a thumbs up. I can use a share. And if I'm worthy of your spare dollars, PayPal link is in the description box. Till next time, kill the state, live free.